Guys, as of this month, I've been doing CrossFit for 16 years, the better part of 2 decades. And in this episode of the podcast, I'll share a few things that I've observed, a few reflections of mine on CrossFit and its evolution over the past 16 years. Tune in and take notes.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, guys? It's Coach G from CrossFit Edwardsville here, and as of this month, it is my 16-year anniversary of doing CrossFit. Over the past 16 years, I've done somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 CrossFit workouts, and I've seen tremendous personal transformation based on being a part of this methodology for as long as I have. But I've also seen a lot for CrossFit as an ecosphere, as a methodology, from a standpoint of its leadership, its mission. And in this episode, I'll share just a few of my reflections, a few things that I've seen being in CrossFit for as long as I have. So let's get right into it. First is the mission of CrossFit has evolved over time. When I first got started back in 2008, the mission was forging elite fitness. And since that time, it's evolved to be making people better. From forging elite fitness, excuse me, to making people better. When I first started CrossFit was a very rogue, underground, renegade, anti-establishment, middle finger to the man feel, very garage gym, very, I guess, again, underground feeling, brand new expression of fitness. That was one of the things that made it cool, made it interesting, was that it was so different, and it ran so contrary to the traditional bodybuilding exercise philosophy or the traditional cardio building exercise philosophy. And it was, in a sense, both the most anti-establishment and the most inclusive thing imaginable all at once. We took the best of monostructural stuff like running, rowing, biking, swimming, and we mixed those with the best of weightlifting, your cleans, your jerks, snatches, squats, deadlifts. Mix those with the best of body weight stuff, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, all different kinds of body weight and gymnastic exercises. We mixed them all into this wild and different and what felt like this never before seen amalgam or hodgepodge program that adopted the best of all worlds in a very Bruce Lee kind of fashion to be competent and skilled in many disciplines and a master of none, where our specialty was not specializing. We were generalists by definition, but we could do it all pretty darn well. If we needed to run, we could run fast. If we needed to lift, we could lift heavy. We weren't going to beat power lifters in powerlifting, but we were strong, we were fast, and it was very cool like watching videos of the original gangsters, the Chris Spielers, the Jason Khalipas, the Greg Amundsens, the original gangsters, the pioneers of CrossFit, the early heroes of CrossFit, watching them do just remarkable things in these grainy videos online. It was wild, it was different, it was revolutionary, it was cool. We were forging elite fitness. Our mascot was Pukey the Clown. We were working out in garages and no heat or no air-conditioned utility sheds or commercial like warehouses. It was rugged, it was unique, it was underground, and it flew directly in the face of every Planet Fitness, every Bally Total Fitness, every Gold's Gym in the area, because it was a very different methodology than anything we had seen before. Now, over time, we've seen that this underground fitness movement, which initially really attracted and appealed mostly to people who were competitive with their fitness and wanted to perform at we wanted to be really, really great athletes in a well-rounded capacity. It evolved over time to where even the new mission of CrossFit is making people better, which it does. It does make people better. And this, I think, shows growth and evolution and maturity in CrossFit as a program, that it doesn't just have to be a sport. Because for most of us, we're not really looking to compete in CrossFit. We want to look good naked. We want to feel amazing energy. We want to feel strong. We want to feel empowered to live life with no limitation. We can do all the cool things in the gym and out of the gym. We can perform at our best. We can be empowered to be amazing spouses, amazing parents. We want to have a high quality of life. Really, like the bigger value proposition of CrossFit was never to be a sport as much as it was a way of empowering you to have the highest quality of life possible, to look good, feel good, perform at your best. And I think in an encouraging way, CrossFit's evolution toward becoming a place that makes people better, this is what it's doing for everyday folks every single day, including myself. This too is what I CrossFit for now. I want to be empowered to be able to go out and live my best life, to be at my best with my quick mind and great energy. If I'm in a boardroom, if I'm doing a public talk, if I'm going out with my friends, going out with my son, that's what I really wanted, more than taking third or second place at a weekend competition. This is a good change. It's a positive change that I think was probably necessary for CrossFit to ultimately reach the most people. And I think that it's also serving people better now in that way than it was. The average CrossFitter is between 25 and 45. They're married, they have kids, they're working professionals, probably white collar, and they want a place they can push themselves in a safe way, push themselves in a gym in a safe way, but have the end goal be to live a great life and have a great life outside of the gym as well. I think this has been overall a positive change for CrossFit to become more about making people better and less about the sport or competition side. Now, that said, there still is a spot for the sport or competition side for people that are drawn that direction. It's just far less of the priority and far less of the direction CrossFit corporately is going. That's point number one. My second major observation is that from a leadership perspective, it seems like CrossFit has had constant struggles. What do I mean? So CrossFit was founded by Greg Glassman and his wife, Lauren Glassman. And full transparency, I've never been the biggest fan of Greg Glassman himself. He is clearly a brilliant man, a revolutionary thinker, but like many brilliant revolutionaries, he's also a highly flawed person. And I really struggled with how I feel about him personally. And before the pandemic hit, we had those questions about him. When the pandemic hit, he made some extremely ill-advised comments online about George Floyd, and there was an incredible firestorm of negative publicity that followed from that, and so many CrossFit affiliates de-affiliated. They wanted to distance themselves from this controversy, from this completely unnecessary firestorm. And so CrossFit as a brand was tremendously threatened. It was an existential threat at that time because of some missteps by CrossFit leadership. And so what happened was Greg Glassman ended up selling CrossFit to a group of investors, including Eric Rosa. And I don't know the full story from there, but now we had basically a corporate owner that had shareholders, and that changed a lot of how CrossFit was directed from a leadership standpoint. Now, personally, I liked Eric Rosa a lot. I thought he was amazing, but for whatever reason, word on the street is that it just did not work. There was a major cultural unfitness with him and CrossFit leadership ecosphere. And so he fell out. And then there's a new guy, Don Fall, who was elected to be the CEO. And there was a stint where Dave Castro was the CEO. But it seems like at the highest levels, CrossFit has constantly struggled with finding really great leadership that could steer the brand in a direction, in a positive direction. CrossFit seems to always, every single year, make major mistakes in some sort of administration of the program. This year, there was a tremendous controversy involving the quarterfinals and box step-ups, what reps were good reps, what reps were not good reps. And that created like this whole cloud of negativity that went over the quarterfinals, the people that were following along with that. And it seems like every year there is some controversy that mars the CrossFit Games or some part of the qualification process. It seems like CrossFit is historically over and over and over and over at the high levels done a really good job of shooting itself in the foot over and over and over and over again. And I say that as a person who loves the program, has been a part of it for a long time, and wants it to succeed. So it actually pains me personally to see CrossFit consistently trip over its own feet over and over and over and over and over again in terms of the branding, the messaging. You know, for the majority of my CrossFit experience, CrossFit headquarters was very, very bad at being communicative with us rank and file CrossFitters on the ground. They would make sweeping, dramatic changes without communicating to us that it was going to happen or the rationale for why it did happen. One thing that comes to mind is when CrossFit fired its entire media team, understanding that the media team that was producing videos about CrossFit events and features on CrossFit athletes, that the rank and file CrossFitters like me, we were interested in these people. We were thrilled. They're part of the reason we got into CrossFit was watching these super cool videos of CrossFitters doing super cool things. That was one of the things that drew us into this sport. It was exciting. It was different. It was revolutionary. And one day, one fell swoop, no warning, CrossFit killed its entire media team with no explanation to any of us on the ground. We just didn't understand it. CrossFit was not good with communication for the majority of my CrossFit experience. And that did a lot to sour the relationship or negatively affect the relationship that rank and file us had with headquarters. And this happened, stuff like this happened over and over and over again. And it seems like CrossFit does a really good job of pissing in its own swimming pool, so to speak. And I wish this wasn't the case. I'm pulling for CrossFit. I was, super excited. I believe in Eric Rosa. I believe in Don Fall, and I want these guys to win. I want them to be great. I'm hoping I have this very persistent optimism that the right leadership will step up and take us in the right direction. It just has not necessarily happened yet. And with that, like so many of the true believers of CrossFit are not a part of CrossFit corporately anymore. There's still a small handful, but it's becoming less and less with every passing year. I'm so thankful that Dave Castrol and Nicole Carroll are still a part of CrossFit. I love those two. And I like to think that it's possible for CrossFit to get out of its own way and fix its leadership so that it can take this brand in a positive direction that helps everyone. That's point number 2. Finally, I want to end on a high note. Point number 3 is that the methodology of CrossFit is still, I believe, the best fitness methodology on the planet. If you want to get to be in your absolute best, the best shape of your life with the least amount of injury risk, I believe CrossFit is the way. If you want to have real, functional fitness, you want to have a body that doesn't just look good, but actually can do amazing things, performs at a high level. Do you want to have strength, flexibility, cardiorespiratory endurance, muscular stamina, speed and power, agility, coordination, balance, and accuracy? Like, do you want to have those 10 qualities in abundance in your life? CrossFit, I believe, is the world's best program for fostering those abilities. And those abilities are the unlock, the cheat code to helping make people better, to empower Americans and people around the world to be their best selves, to look amazing, feel amazing, be truly able to be great spouses, great parents, great working professionals, have great energy, to be good in the gym and out of the gym. I don't think there's any program on earth that does it better than CrossFit. And 16 years later, I believe that more strongly than I ever have, because I've seen it transform so many lives. It's transformed mine, and I'm excited for what it can do for you also. If you're interested to learn more about CrossFit and you're not a part of our community of excellence here at CrossFit Edwardsville, look us up online. You can find us on all the socials. You can find us at CrossFitEdwardsville.com. When you're ready, you can book a no sweat conversation to talk to one of our coaches about what your unique CrossFit journey looks like to you. And I hope that you do. But for now, I thank you for the gift of your time and your attention. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below about what reflections, what you've seen in CrossFit over your time with us. We'll talk again soon. We'll see you guys in the next episode of the podcast.